Good evening, everybody, and welcome to session 2 of our next level class, Plugged In and Prospering. And tonight is a really special night because tonight we're going to walk through part of a program that Debbie and I have done literally across the country and in many other countries around the world. And this is a program that we got introduced to, I don't know, probably maybe 5 years ago, 6 years ago now. And we bought a license to do this program. It is copyrighted material. And so even though I gave you a printable copy of this, make sure that you respect the copyrights on that. We want to make sure everybody had their copy, and some didn't get it picked up at church, and some were remote and weren't going to be able to. So you have that copy, but please respect that. Tonight's going to be a little longer because it takes 90 minutes to go through this, and so there's several things that we're going to do, and then there's really, I guess, what I want you to be aware of is that we are going to have a really good time together, and you're going to have to work pretty hard, but this program, if you follow the process, it's going to do an amazing thing for you. And at the end, you're going to end up with a written purpose statement for your life. And we'll talk about, why that's important, and, kind of get you queued up on that. But I want you to think about that God loved you so much that he created you as a unique individual. And, there are some people that look similar, but there's nobody who looks exactly alike. I mean, there are identical twins, and even they have differences between them because their fingerprints are different. So every single person is unique. And I just think that demonstrates how much God thought about each of us as he was conceiving us and creating us. And a God who would take so much attention to detail and make you so unique that even you have a unique fingerprint from anyone else in the world. Wouldn't it make sense that he has a very distinct purpose for your life? To me, it makes sense that there's something that he wants you to do that no one else can do as well as you can do it. And sadly, a lot of people don't know what their purpose is, and it really complicates their life because when it comes time to making decisions, they're guessing. They don't know. So how wonderful it is when you know your purpose, because that way, when opportunities come up, you have the ability to look at a situation, and it might be the best opportunity in the world. It might be the most amazing thing that you could think of doing, and yet you look at it and it's not in alignment with your purpose. Trust me, you're going to be better off because that means that something even greater is going to be coming along. So understanding your purpose opens up a whole new way of living. And so we're going to just kind of jump right in here. And so turn in your book to page 3. And this is part, as you will see, is part of a much longer workshop. There's actually 6 sessions. This is an 8-hour workshop. And at the end, I'm going to talk about how you can complete the rest of this if you choose to. But tonight, we're just going to be focused on part 1. And let's start by talking about what purpose is. Now, purpose is your why. Simon Sinek wrote the book Why, understanding your why. There's a lot of people that have been talking about why, but it's why you are here on this planet. It's your purpose is what you have been designed and created for by God. It's what you were made for versus what you like or what you want. There's a lot of things you might like to do. There's a lot of things you might want to do. But when you understand your purpose, that takes you to a whole new level. There's a passion that is involved when you understand your purpose, and you know that passion fuels you and drives you to accomplish that purpose. And so your purpose, your why, it's in you. And my belief is that God has created each of us for something, something special, something unique that only each of us can do. To honor that, then we must discover and live from that purpose. When we understand what that purpose is, we then have to orient our life in alignment with that purpose and begin to make choices and decisions in alignment with that purpose. Now, the wonderful thing about purpose is that it's timeless. It never changes. Your purpose that you will discover today is going to be the same purpose that you will be pursuing in the next 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, all the way through, because it's timeless. It never changes. Now, you might make minor adjustments to the wording of it, but the overall purpose that you are pursuing will not change. And, you know, it's the wonderful thing about when you know that, and we're going to get into this, and you'll start to see this, but it really does change the way you view life. Several years ago, some of you have heard this story from me. I won't tell the whole story, but I had a situation where a doctor came in after an X-ray, chest X-ray, and said that I had a dark mass in my lung. And because I knew my purpose, I can honestly tell you that I had no fear. I had no doubt. I looked at the doctor. The doctor said, we're going to do an MRI to look closer at what's there and understand this. I told him, do your test, because I know I'm fine, because I knew my purpose and I knew that I had not fulfilled my purpose. And sure enough, the MRI came back and there was nothing there. And he's got an X-ray in one hand and the MRI results in the other, and he can't explain why there's a difference between the two. But the thing that I want you to catch here is that I had no fear during that whole process. I absolutely had no fear because I knew my purpose. And so it really does change everything. It changes everything. And so knowing your purpose is going to change your life. Now, let's talk about what change is not, or what purpose is not. It's not a goal. Your purpose is not a goal. It's not an outcome. It's in fact, it's not something that you're ever going to achieve or arrive at. It is not a destination. It is a journey, a lifelong journey. And you will actually never be done with your purpose. I personally believe that your purpose is eternal, that you will continue to pursue your purpose throughout all eternity, even when you go to heaven. And so that means that there's always more to fulfill. And, you know, that's why it's not an income goal. It's not your purpose is not, you know, getting the car of your dreams. It's not having the house of your dreams. It's not having the lifestyle that you've always dreamed of. Those are goals, but that's not what your purpose is. You can take a look at the diagram there on the bottom of page 3, and you'll see that the purpose is the overarching box. And that's your timeless why. That's why you exist. That's why you're here. It's the reason that God created you. Now, your vision is what you look like. It's your how, okay? It's how it looks when you're living out and expressing your purpose. And your vision or your how will change over time. You will find that you're doing something now that is pursuing that purpose, but now you're in a different season of life, and your vision's going to change, but your purpose did not. And therefore, your vision, changes and is time sensitive, but your purpose is timeless. And your goals, well, they're what you need to accomplish in order to make your vision become a reality. So your goals are very important because they should point to the vision that you are working on, but that vision needs to be in alignment with your why. And see, it really works the way this chart shows, is that your why, your purpose, it feeds your how. Your how is your vision, and that feeds your what, which are your goals. And so the what is what you're working on because you're trying to accomplish your vision, which is, you know, your how, and your purpose is your why. And hopefully that all makes sense, and we'll leave some time for question and answer after. But that gives you a kind of a snapshot of what your purpose is going to be able to do for you. It's going to influence your vision for your life, your family, your career, for church experience. Your goals are something that are highly important, but it all starts with that purpose. It all starts with that why. Now, by the time we're done tonight, you're going to develop a written purpose statement that is all yours. And this purpose statement will be your best attempt at articulating why you're here on this planet and what you have been designed and made for. Now, to kind of give you an example of put this purpose statement in perspective, I'm going to share my screen here, and I want to show this picture to you. And this is a picture that I wish that I had the ability to kind of do a panoramic, because I really can't. But this is actually a picture from a place called Beartooth Pass Highway. And it is a road that starts just out of Red Lodge, Montana, and you drive up through the mountains, through switchbacks. It's really only 69 miles, and it takes you into the northeast corner of Yellowstone National Park. You know, it's only 69 miles, but it will take you upwards of almost 4 hours to make the trip, because you are taking these sharp hairpin turns back and forth. And at one point, there is a vista where you can see 18 glacier lakes from one viewpoint, from one vantage point. And it tops out at just under 11,000 feet at the crest before you start working your way back down the other side toward Yellowstone. It is one of my favorite places in the world. Here's the thing. This picture only represents this journey. It only represents this place on Earth. It isn't the place. And your purpose statement is just that. It represents your purpose, but pursuing your purpose is something that has to be walked out. It is something that has to be lived. Just having a purpose statement is no more going to put you into that purpose than this picture can actually put you into this actual place in Montana. It just represents that place. And that's exactly what your purpose statement is going to do. It is going to represent, let me just minimize my screen and get back here. It is going to represent your purpose, but it's really not. It's just an image. It's a map that's pointing to your why you're here, what you're designed for. And so words don't really do justice to what your purpose really is, but we have to have something to use as a guide. We have to have something that you can use to live by. And so that's why we write a purpose statement. Now, a purpose statement, as I said, is a very powerful tool. It can be used to help you make decisions and live a purposeful life. You can always ask yourself if your decisions are making sense, if they're in alignment with your purpose, if they're going in the direction that your purpose is stating that you should be. And so the wonderful thing about having this purpose statement is that it's like living life in what's called the sweet spot. Now, anybody who's been involved in sports understands what that term is, but in baseball, where when a pitcher throws a pitch to the batter and he connects at the meat of the bat, at the sweet spot as they refer to it, it makes a sound that is so unique, and you know that that ball is going out of the park because you've hit the sweet spot. In golf, when a golfer is coming down with the club and they make contact with the ball, if they hit the ball in the sweet spot of the face of the club, that ball's going to go exactly where they designed it to go, where they intended for it to go. But if they're off the sweet spot, then that ball could go anywhere, left, right, uptown, shanked, toed. It's going to be ugly. So having a purpose statement and pursuing that is like living life in the sweet spot. It's your greatest fulfillment and rewards that are waiting for you when you live a life that's in alignment with your purpose. And you're going to see that once you've written your own. Now, I want you to do this, and I know that it's awkward, you're on camera and everything else, but I want you to actually do this. I want you to just, if you're taking notes, I want you to put your pen down, and I just want you to kind of place your hands in front of you, and I want you to close your eyes, and I want you to just kind of just calm yourself, just get, as some would say, centered. I don't want to sound new agey, but I'm really just trying to get you to mentally calm down, let go of the day. Feel that your awareness is dropping out of your head. You're listening to me talk, and you're still thinking about things, and I just want you to let go of every thought that you can and just relax. With your eyes closed, I want you to let the awareness drop out of your head and into your heart. And some people find it helpful to actually take their hand and place it on their heart. And keep taking nice, deep, cleansing breaths. I want you to breathe deeply in through your mouth, in through your nose, and then out through your mouth. And do that several times. And just think of a time when you were at your very best. I mean, this was you being your very best. You lost track of time. You were caught up in the moment. You were just you being you. You were not trying to be anyone else. And you were you at your best. Now, I want you to open your eyes, and from that place of understanding, that place of awareness in your mind, I want you to answer these following questions that you're going to find on page 4. And I'll guide you through this. And I don't deliberate. It's usually best to write the first thing that comes to your mind. So when you are you at your best, being you, ask yourself, what am I doing? Who am I with? Where am I? What am I feeling? And in that moment, what's important to me? And also the last question, in that moment, what outcome am I seeking? So answer those questions in order. And I'm going to keep everybody muted so it's quiet. I'm going to stop talking so you can think. If you have questions for me, just click on the chat button at the bottom of the screen during these quiet times, and I will answer privately any questions that you have. And if I think it's significant enough for the group, I'll just make my response for everybody. So if you need any questions, answers, or anything, just put that in the chat privately to me, and I'll answer that. Okay, so take a few minutes and answer those down, and then when you're ready, I want you to just look up and let me know that you're done. So it looks like we're ready to move on. Okay. So now turn to page 5, and we'll take the next little step. And we do this in stages. And the other thing you're going to see is there's redundancy built into this. We're going to ask the same question several times in different ways, and that's intentional. And so just keep answering the question to the best of your ability, and you'll end up where you need to be at the end. So we're going to dig a little deeper now. And it says pair up with a partner, but in the Zoom call, we're not going to do that. But I do want you to answer these next questions on your own. And just, really dig down deep and go down to just, stop at where it says know yourself even more. So you're going to answer the questions. What about that is important to you? In other words, those things that you just wrote, what about that is important to you and why? And don't be afraid to ask a few why questions of yourself and go a few layers deep, because sometimes if you keep asking why, why do I feel that way? Why do I do that? Why do I want to do that? You just keep going down, down, down and asking questions. You'll go a little deeper. And then what are you here to give? In your best estimate, why did God put you here? What are you here to give? How does it make you feel when you give that? And then dig even deeper by asking, what about that is important to you? And you'll see a pattern start to emerge. And when you do, say, what about that is important to me? And why is that your greatest contribution? And how does that make you feel and why? So complete those in those 3 lines or multiple lines, but 3 sections you have there, and then we'll come back. And again, the private chat is open if you have questions. And one of the things I'll mention to you is that you can always go back and look at the previous statements that you've written and use that as inspiration to answer the next questions. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and move us on to the next section now. If you're still working, that's okay. We won't leave you behind. But those that want to move ahead can. And so we're gonna continue on this process now, and you're going to be looking at some things that really make you unique, because all of us have different needs. We all have the basic needs of food and water and shelter, but what are the needs that make you uniquely you? There are some people that they just have to be outside. They can't stand not being outside. It's just something that uniquely is a need that they have. There are others that don't like going outside. And so just answer these next questions from the perspective of what makes you uniquely you. And we're going to be going all the way through. Well, let me just ask these questions here so that everybody's got it fresh in their mind. So what types of rewards do you need? What fulfills you? What lights you up? What do you need to feel in order to feel complete? And why? What's the reason for that? Do you need to work alone, or do you like to work in groups? Do you like a noisy environment or a quiet environment? Do you like the applause of many, or do you like the encouragement of a few? And this one is really kind of fun. Is what can you not do? In other words, you have to do it. You're compelled to do it. It's something that you cannot not do. And you'll find yourself, for example, coaching or teaching people everywhere you go, and you can't seem to turn it off. And other people see it in you too. So what can you not do? And go ahead and complete those down, and stop before you get to compulsions. So go ahead and complete those next questions, and then I'll come back. Okay, I'm going to take us on to the next section now. Again, if you're still working, that's fine. Just keep working. We're now going to do the section from compulsions all the way through, but do not do statement of why you exist. So you're going to be answering those questions, and for example, compulsion. What compels you to perform at your best? What what fuels you? You know, where do you get your energy from? Do you get energy from being with people, or do you get energy by working alone? What are your best ways of getting energy? What compels you? Motivators, you know, these are urges or impulses or desires or fixations or compulsions. I try to tell Debbie that, you know, going golfing is a you know, a compulsion. It's something that I have to do. It doesn't always work that way, but but what drives you to perform at your very best? What gets you out of bed in the morning? I like that one. You know, think about that. You know, on days where you look forward to getting out of bed, what are you doing? What are you going to be doing that day that gets you going? What motivates you to be your best? What gets your gears going? What charges you up? And what are you driven to be? And what are you driven to do? So answer those questions, and then I will come back. And again, remember, the chat is open if you have any questions. Okay, I'm going to move us on to the next section. Again, you may still be working. That's okay. Just pay attention to my instructions on this next paragraph and write down some questions I'm going to give you. And then if you need to go back and finish up, you can do that. I'm going to give you a little bit more time on this one because it's going to involve some free form writing, and I'm going to let you be able to think. So in this next section now, you're going to write some statements of why you exist. And you can follow these, or you can add some of your own if you're getting in a flow of something. But answer this question: I am here to, and then fill in the blank. I am here to, I am here because, and I am here for. If you can answer those three questions, or any other questions that may come up, you know, in your spirit, just go ahead. But those are the kinds of statements that you're going to write in this next paragraph. I am here to, I am here because, I am here for. If you need to go back and finish your other sections first, go ahead and do that. And I'm going to give you a good 5 minutes on this one to take your time and complete that, and then I'll come back. Okay, looks like most everybody's done. Okay, let's go on to the next section now. And we're going to do the characteristics section. And what's interesting about this, you're going to answer these questions, but I'm going to give you an example of how this worked in my life. And so I'll read the questions here first. And these are characteristics, qualities, talents that you possess, impressions of who you are. And a way you can identify those is first impressions. What do strangers first notice about you? How long do your long-term friends, or how would your long-term friends describe you? You know, these are lasting long-term relationships. If your friends had to pick one word to describe you, what would they pick? And what commonalities do you notice in your successes and in your failures? Let me give you an example of this first impression one. I was had just started working at a new job here in Dallas. It's the Dallas job that brought me from South Florida to Texas. And I'm sitting in my office one day, and one of my colleagues, Chris, stuck his head in my door, and we were just chatting, and just out of the blue, and Chris is a Jewish man, and just out of the blue, he looked at me and he said, "Randy, you know who you remind me of? You remind me of a pastor." Well, he didn't know at the time I was actually going to ministry training school. He didn't know that I had aspirations of starting a church and going into ministry. And I looked at him so shocked, and I said, "Chris, you're Jewish. What do you know about being a pastor?" He said, "I don't know. I don't know anything about it, but when I look at you, that's what I think of." And so people really do see these things in you. They really can see it on you. And those are the things that I want you to identify in this next section. And so complete characteristics down to the bottom of page 6. Okay, I'm going to move us along here. And so now you've been describing how you believe others would see you and how they would describe you. And we're going to shift gears on that. And we're going to have you list how you would describe yourself. What are your character traits? Who are you at your core? And what I want you to do is I want you to pick 6 to 8 words that describe you being you. Some examples might be loving or kind or creative or passionate, curious, caring, driven, enthusiastic, just, whatever comes to mind. But these are the words that you think best describe you. And then after you've done those, you're going to narrow it down to your top 3 or 4. But list a bunch. I mean, you don't even have to be limited to 8, but get as many down as you can. And then as you think about those and think into those, we'll narrow that down to 3 or 4. And then I'll come back and we'll be real close to starting to write our purpose statement. And again, you can use all of your previous comments. So you can go back to the previous pages and look at things that you've written about yourself or things that you think other people see in you, and that will help you to get some of these descriptors. And I'll just interject here. Resist the temptation to go on to writing your purpose statement, because I'm going to give you some instructions that will make this task much easier for you. So just make sure you're going down through the narrow it down paragraph and answering those questions. And when you're done, then just let me know and we'll continue. Okay, if you're still writing, just keep going. I'm going to give you some further instructions so that you can now start to write your purpose statement. So what you're going to do here is you're going to draw on everything that you've written so far. And so you're going to take the characteristics that you wrote about yourself from page 6 and the ones that you narrowed down in page 7, and you're going to plug those in. So you'll see through my, and then you've got space to put 4 characteristics there. And you're going to list those 4 that you feel best describe you. Some people change. They may have narrowed it down to those 4, but then they look at it and they go back to, looking at the characteristics from page 6, and they'll end up changing it. That's okay. And then the next statement is I blank, and go back and refer to page 4. And these were where you were describing you being you. These are, verbs, actions that describe you being you. It's what you do when you are being you. And then the last part of it is for what outcome, for what reason. And those are things that you already wrote when you wrote down what outcome are you seeking, what outcome do you desire, and that's what you're going to put in there. And this is a rough draft, so you can scribble out, scratch. If you don't like the way it's reading, that's okay. You'll see there's an example statement right below, and you can draw from that, but obviously don't write what's there. That's not your purpose, that's somebody else's. But that's where you draw it from. So you can draw from page 6 for the first part, and page 4 for the second part, and remember the outcomes that you were seeking when you were being you. And go ahead and fill that in, and then when you come back, we'll polish your purpose statements. Okay, I'm sure that many of you are still writing. If you have completed your purpose statement, I'd love you to just go to the chat and send it to me privately. I would just love to see how you've progressed through it. When we're done, when everyone's done, I'm going to ask a few if they would share theirs, but those that send to me, I'm going to keep that private. And so you'll only share it if it's something that you want to share. But I would love to be able to see what you've written and make sure that we're all moving forward in this task. So once you've completed your purpose statement, just go ahead and send that to me privately in the chat. Okay, you may still be working. That's great if you are, no problem. Just keep going. If you have any questions, just let me know. We've got a few minutes left here, and I do want to get some of you that would like to, if you'd like to share your purpose statement, just unmute yourself and go ahead and jump on in and just read the statement. And don't all go at once.
I'll go. I don't care.
Okay, I see two. So let's go Holly first and then Frances Marie.
Through my compassion, drive, intuition, and thoughtfulness, I invest in people, businesses, and opportunities to make them the best versions of themselves that they can be.
How do you feel about that?
I like it. It kind of wraps up everything that I have done in the past that I truly enjoyed. So I thought it was interesting that I got there without knowing that's kind of what I was doing when I was living my best life. So
very good. Frances Marie?
I just want to say that, well, I'll share it, but I just want to say that Jason is over here like slapping me on the thigh to get me to share it.
Then he should be sharing his too, right?
I was thinking the exact same thing.
I'll share after yours.
You can share first.
Okay, fine. I'll share first. All right. Through my creativity, kindness, and generosity, I connect to others through music, to spread joy and love, to heal the brokenness inside through our common bonds, forging a connection on a soul level.
And how do you feel about that?
I feel good. It really does sum up, my passions and what I feel and believe, and it, just all kind of came together right away for me.
Yeah, it's a really interesting process. Next.
All right. Through my loyal, honest, organized, and hardworking heart, I want people to feel valued and supported through the ways I connect and serve them well, so they know they matter and someone cares for them.
Very good. Very good. We still have a few minutes left. Who else would be bold enough to share theirs?
I'll go.
Okay.
Okay, I wrote, through my passion of studying God's word, I'm able to perceive and assist people in need as I share God's truth so they can make lasting, successful changes in their lives.
Very good. And what does that speak to you? Does that describe you? Do you feel like that unlocks anything and you go, yeah, that's really me?
Yeah, that is what Holly said earlier. That's exactly what I've been doing all my life. I've already been doing that. So to be able to see it written down, I can actually see when I have that opportunity. I'm no longer thinking, well, is this me just trying to be stuck up or is this the enemy? No, it's like, I know this is my piece that I can do to help. And so I'm just going to go in and I'm going to do it. And I know God has placed that in me. So I don't have to worry if I'm doing it right or wrong. I know that I'm doing it the way God wants me to do it.
Yep. And you'll see that it really does drive what you do, because Jesus shared his mission statement in Luke chapter 4. I believe it's verse 18 or the verses on either side of that. And you'll find that throughout the Gospels, he did not deviate from that purpose one bit. What he stated there is exactly what he went about doing everywhere he went. He was so consistent to his purpose. He didn't deviate. And when someone came to him with something that was outside that purpose, he said, I'm sorry, but that's not why I came. That's not what I'm here for. And to some, it almost sounded like he was insulting them. But no, he was so focused on his purpose, and he was not going to deviate from it. That's how important this is. Okay, we've got a couple of minutes. We got time for maybe one more. And then I want to share some additional information with you. So anybody else want to share?
I just want to say that, yeah, that is Cindy, by the way.
It is
That
Cindy,
the
yes.
Yes. Yes. It's good to put words after all of that she is. So that's good. I have mine. I've had a hard time just trying to put it together, but here it goes. That's why I didn't send it to you, because I'm just trying to, how does all this work
Yeah.
for me? But I put through my planning, detail-oriented, perseverance, and patience, I help people learn and grow while executing the plan and reaching their goals. So
Sounds very, very good. And it sounds very much like you.
yeah, so it took me a while to look
Yeah.
at it.
Excellent. Okay, well, guys, this has been a lot of fun. Debbie and I wanted to do this with the church for a long, long time, and so we're so excited we've had the opportunity to do it. Now, as those of you that have the book have seen, this is actually part of a 6-part program, and it's something that we do in churches all across the country. It's also something that we offer online. And what I told Pastor Chris when we were discussing how we were going to do this, I told him, even though you can get this program online, it's something that we sell for $197, and people sign up. And if you're curious, you want to see what that looks like, you can go to myblueprintworkshop.com, myblueprintworkshop.com. And you'll see that that's a program there that we sell. But what I told Pastor Chris we would do for anybody who wants to complete the rest of this, I'll give you access to those videos. And it's really just me kind of doing what I just did with you. I walk you through step by step the rest of the program. And so if you want to do that, that's yours. It's our gift to you. And just send me a message and say, yes, I want the rest of Blueprint, and then I'll get you access to those videos. Now, in giving you access, I'm going to ask your cooperation, because this is something that we do sell, and it is part of our livelihood. So I'm going to ask that you do not share this with anyone else. We're going to share it with you. On our website, it's in a controlled environment, but I can't get all of you to get logged into that. So I'm going to actually put a folder out on a common drive and give you access to that drive. And I'm going to trust you that you're going to honor the gift that we're giving you, and not share that with anyone else who has not paid for the program. Okay? So if that's something you want, send it to us, and we'll get you the rest of those videos. And just keep in mind now, it's going to take you some time. And so we find it most effective when people sit down and go all the way through in one sit, or not one sitting, but in like in one day. But you don't have to. We've had many people that just didn't have time to take a full Saturday, say, for example, and spend 8 hours going through it. And so they'll do a little bit at a time, do one section at a time. It will work. We've just found it works better if you can go in one sitting, or one day all the way through. So private message me, let me know that you want it. Just say, yes, I want the rest of Blueprint, and we'll get that to you. And for those of you that did not get your book, let me know that as well, and we'll make sure that you get a book, because you did pay for it. So I wanted to make sure that this session was posted in the email for tonight so that you could get through this, but to complete the rest of it, you'll need your book. And so just let us know, and we'll make arrangements to get that to you. Okay, so we're about 3 minutes over. I just want to see if anybody has any questions, any comments, any last words that they'd like to share. and I am just going to go around my screen and just ask each name that I see. And if you have no comments, just say pass, because you don't have to say anything, but I want to give everybody an opportunity if they want to share anything at all. So first on my screen is the Evans. Any questions, comments? And I can sort of see shadows, but I can't see if there's any. All right, you guys are good? Okay, all right. Next up is the Cotters. Any questions, comments? Nope. Okay, Linda? She's good. All right, Cindy? All right. Francis Marie, Jason? Good. I'm going to save Debbie for last because I know Debbie's got comments. Holly?
Just thank you. This was awesome.
Good, very good. Ezra?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank
And
you.
I have iPhone. I don't know who iPhone is.
Oh, Cindy probably.
Is that
Maybe.
Cindy?
Maybe Cindy, Becky's friend. I saw
Okay.
her on earlier.
Yeah, that's who it is.
Okay. If you want to unmute, if I'll wait a couple seconds. If not, we'll pass on to the next. And okay. And then last on my screen is Becky and Tim. Any questions, comments? Okay. All right, everybody. Thank you so much.
Oh,
Thanks.
Randy.
Oh, I almost forgot Debbie. How could I do that?
Jeez, you just lost some points almost. Okay. So I actually just want to give you guys just a little bit more excitement. I have done this with as young as 12 years old. I don't think that we could do this with someone the age of Stephen. And just so that you guys know how young that you could do this with somebody. And I've done this as old as someone who is 76 years old. They all got the exact same aha moment that you guys did, is that they weren't surprised, but they were just comforted that what they've already been doing is their purpose, and that they are never going to completely fulfill it. They're never going to actually stop doing it. They're never going to retire from it because it is their calling and their forever task. So what I just want to encourage you is this purpose statement is going to help you start to say your yeses and start to say your nos. So last year when Randy and I were going through some, things like we might move and we might take over a church, and we, all these different things that Randy and I were going through, our purpose statement was in clear vision at all times so that we knew what we needed to say yes and no to. And when Angela and Chris asked us to come on staff, there was this peace that just overflowed with me. And it brought this peace and security that no $100,000 or $200,000 job out in the sales world was ever going to fulfill my purpose, which is through my open and transparent love of learning and sharing God's promises. I encourage and deliver hope one-on-one as a coach and mentor to unlock people's potential, to take them from where they are to where God wants them to be, so they will find and access the life God has for them through God's promises. So I did this tonight with you guys. I wanted to see how my purpose changed. My purpose didn't change. It got a little polished up. But when you know your purpose and you can say it in like a sentence or two, there is a confidence and there is an authority that you take over your life, and your yeses start to be yes and your nos. You start to say no to things because it has nothing to do with your purpose. And when I am on a plane and that plane starts to get bumpy, and trust me, we've had some bumpy flights to going to Denmark, I know I am not satisfied and I am not done with my purpose. So that plane is not going to go down and I'm going to be just fine. So when you know you're not done and you know you're not satisfied and you know you still have more to do, you can't let the enemy bother you because you're not done with your purpose. So that's the benefit of knowing your purpose. And I'll actually just, hopefully Francis Marie will let me be okay with this. Part of her purpose, she said, was to be a good mom and a wife. And I go, well, Francis Marie, yeah, you are going to be a good wife and a good mom, but your purpose is personal to you. And it has nothing to do with you being a mom or a wife or a husband or a brother or a sister. God gave you a gift and he wants you to go do that. And every decision you do should attach to your purpose now. And don't question your purpose because it's not going to go away. Like I did this on August 11th, 2015, and it hasn't changed. I was in sales, it didn't change. I'm in ministry, it didn't change. I'm coaching and it didn't change. I worked for the #1 cosmetic company in the world and it didn't change. I was still encouraging and delivering hope one-on-one to women for them to find their goals. So I am so excited. I had this little boy, 12 years old, wanted me to identify his purpose as his birthday present. That was the only gift that he wanted from his parents. So I wish, if you guys have any questions, ask us at church. I will meet with you. I will help you. I've done this with 3 people at the church already. It is a blast. So that's all.
Okay. All right. Thanks, everybody. Good night.
See you later. Bye-bye.